if we read to a kindergarten classroom, the kindergartners had one page that was repeated over and over again. They learned that page. So as they were reading the book together, the kindergartners could participate. We had one group that was second graders talking to some of the older kids about what the middle school was like, knowing that they were going to be transitioning there come the fall. So lots of different ways that these teachers were able to find connections with the younger learners to the older learners. So that was a very good day. We're getting feedback from teachers to try and see and find other ways to keep these classrooms connected. I'm hoping it's just a little bit of a seed that we can do some more of that interaction between the two groups. 4K information night was last Thursday. This Thursday we have a 4K literacy night where all of the sites have been working on a variety of projects based on specific authors based on site. They will be showcasing their work in the gymnasium at Parkview on Thursday evening. And following that, we have about 31 kids who are going to be sticking around and participating in what's called 5K Roundup. Really, it's a registration night, but those 31 kids will get divided up into about 3 groups of 10 or 11, and they will be working with some of our kindergarten staff, our 4K staff, our reading team, and they will be doing a little book together, an activity, just so we can get some eyes on these kids and look and see where skills are at as they're coming into kindergarten. While the kids are doing that, the parents will be with Laura Hanisch and I, working and kind of going over what kindergarten's like, videos of what it looks like to be in kindergarten from reading perspective, writing perspective, math perspective, etc. And my last thing is just a thank you and a shout out to Troy Rosedal's classes up at the high school. We made a determination to offer a Popcorn Friday, one Friday a month at Parkview. A little bit of a fundraiser. Kids can pay $1 for a bag of popcorn, but we've asked Troy's students to help be the popcorn poppers. So Troy's kids and his classes work on popping the popcorn for us one Friday a month, and then we get it transported down to Parkview into the classes. So it's been a nice relationship, partnership we've started with them.
That'd be nice for a board meeting.
I can bring you popcorn, don't worry. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Becky.
Yep.
Bob? Mayville Middle School had its vocal, soul, and ensemble. There were 11 schools that attended. Only one school had more events than Mayville, which had 30 entries. Of those 30 entries, we had 18 first place entries, with 2 of them moving on to state solo and ensemble in April, and we had 4 second place ratings. So our kids had a good showing and did good work at that event. Our art and music departments are participating in the 3rd annual YAMM, Y-A-M-M, Community Art Walk. And it started as, when I got the email, and I don't have the date in here, I think it was yesterday or today, 50 works of art from our students are displayed in 8 local businesses, along with QR codes attached to each art piece that links it to a musical recording of a band, chorus, or show choir performance from the Mayville School District. So it's our performances tied to our art pieces being displayed in 8 different businesses throughout our community. So if you want to take a look at that, those are downtown. I can send out the stores that are participating, and we're just very proud of our students, both in the music department and the art department, for the work they've done, and then sharing it with our local community. Mrs. Persian?
Hey, Bob,
go ahead.
So, okay, so everybody, do you know what a QR code is?
Yes.
Okay, so a QR code is literally like, you take the website, it's a link that's embedded into this QR code that's like a scanned image, like at the grocery store. So it's a barcode pretty much, right? So, but the QR code, you can, with your smartphone, you can scan it, and if you don't have it, you can download a QR code app, okay? So, and you scan it, and then it takes you right to the video then. So what's neat is, so the kids, so you see the art piece, and then that art piece has a QR code, and they scan it, and it takes you to, so a live, well, not live, it's a recording, right? So,
Takes you to the
but it takes you to whatever site that it's linked to. So that's pretty cool.
It is. I think it was a great activity. Mrs. Persia received a thank you note from the American Red Cross for a recent fundraising effort. It read shortly, on behalf of the American Heart Association and the millions of Americans we serve, thank you very much for your school's donation of $5,739. Yes, very nice. Families and schools are critical links in providing the foundation for cardiovascular wellness in our community. By holding this event at your school each year, you raise awareness about healthy living and you help fund more life-saving scientific research and critically needed education efforts. Thank you to her. Ms. LeBoten, Becky talked about Digital Learning Day. The feedback I received in person from some staff is our students enjoyed it. They like seeing their counterparts across town, and it really was a new way, I think, for many of our staff members to connect with someone at a distance, and it was very easy to do through our Google application that we all use here in the school district. On Friday, the 1st, Mrs. Haney organized our first Movie Fest event, and it was a reward for students who were meeting the expectations for our building during the month of February. So it was the first time we did that. It was the last couple hours of the Friday of that trimester, and our students enjoyed watching movies, and several different movies were offered by staff in several different rooms. And those students who didn't meet those expectations were with staff as well, going over some learning activities to help them understand the expectations and how to meet those in the future. Also, we have a board game club that started at Mayville Middle School, and it meets every other Thursday during lunch and also Thursday after school. That is run by staff volunteers who meet with students during lunch, play board games with them, talk about sportsmanship, help them understand strategy, as well as the after-school event too in the IMC of the library. So it's a way for our staff to interact with our students in a very different way outside of the classroom, and I believe it's going to be very helpful in creating deeper relationships with our students, those who participate, and with those staff who participate. Thank you, John.
All right, thanks, Bob. Any possible future action items? Any unfinished business? New business, we have resolution 1819165. Approval to hire Nikki Strader, part-time food server at the middle school.
So moved.
Motion by Noel, second by Joe.
So we have a opening right now at the middle school for one of the food service members. So we have a two-person team there. So Nikki has spent the fall, she spent a considerable amount of time working at the middle school. Right now, she took a break from that. She was going back and forth between all buildings. Currently, she's back focusing her time at the middle school again, so this will help out with that. It's a 30-hour-a-week job. You see the rate of pay. It's a labor grade 2, and she's excited to get it filled.
Any questions on this approval to hire? Nor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion carried 7-0. Resolution 1819166, approval to hire Jamie Schroffmagel, part-time administrative assistant, food service department.
So moved.
Motion by Dick, second by
Second.
Joe.
Okay, this position was created about a year and a half ago, actually, Nikki did. And it was a successful position for the program. And then earlier this fall, the person in the job has a great skill set, was offered an opportunity for quite a considerable salary increase or hourly rate increase. So then they have been without this position for about, I would say, a month and a half, 2 months is what I believe. So pretty much near the beginning of the new year. So it's 32 and a half hours. It is a higher labor grade. It's a labor grade 5, and the rate of pay is greater, 13.50.
Did you have any past experience or anything?
I don't have her resume. I know that this individual, according to Nikki, when she came and met with me, is able to fill in many roles for the lunch program. So she must have some relative experience, because she was able to say that she could work in any one of the buildings in addition to this role. So I apologize for not having that. I can forward it to you if you guys would like.
That's what Nikki's there for.
Any other discussion or questions? Dick?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Motion carried 7-0. Resolution 1819167, approval of donation from Modern Woodman and Tricia Schwagel for a fourth grade project for a garden tower.
I'll move.
Motion by Miller, second by
Second.
Joe.
Somebody's gonna draw me a picture.
Bob, can you speak to this one?
Yeah, we're very thankful for, to the Modern Woodman. It's a local agent in Mayville for donating this amount of money to purchase this equipment. This is equipment that meets the standards for science at the fourth grade and allows students to grow plants from seeds or seedlings and then watch and track their growth over time. Mrs. Weiglein, who's the teacher who worked to secure the grant, has also been in contact with Mr. Kramer at the high school to see if there was some connection there with obtaining the seeds or the seedlings from the day program at the high school. So there's a nice connection with our high school here as well. It's reusable equipment, will be used for many years.
How big is it, or how does?
It's tall, it just goes straight up, and so it's like one of those, vertical, like you can hang and you have tanks growing out of it. But this has a base on the ground with casters, is movable, but you can grow a lot of plants in a very small number area.
The 4K site at Patty Cakes has one
Oh, they do?
that they use. They grow celery and all kinds of herbs and stuff that go with the harvest.
Any questions about this donation? This great donation. Norm?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried 7-0. Letter of thank yous go out.
Scott, how do you
We can do it from here.
do it from here?
Resolution 1819168, approval of 2019-2020 district calendar. Need a motion?
So moved.
Joe, seconded by
Ron.
Ron.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, we have a little bit of a updated template. The goal is to try to be user-friendly for families here. We are gonna have a narrative piece that goes along with this as well. So right now, you're gonna have a color copy. And on the back side of it is actually the resource that I use to make sure that we're good with the DPI as far as minutes. So there's no longer a 180-day requirement for schools. It's about the minutes of instruction that you provide. So this calendar option that we have put together, this was vetted out by the district core team. It's about 15 staff members. The administrative team looked at it multiple times. The calendar was put together after receiving a plus delta, meaning what's going well in the district, what are things to work on in the district during January 21st in service. So we shared the template, an option with the staff, got their feedback, and actually because of their feedback brought back a different version of a calendar for after trying to be as responsive to teacher needs as possible. To me, I think the calendar is very family friendly on top of being responsive to our school improvement initiatives that we're working on. So I'm going to focus on this back page really quick and then I'll go back up to the top. So we need to report out our minutes by these specific grade bands, K2, 3, 5, and 6, 8, and then 9, 12. So because the 3, 8 building is in one location, we have to call out specifically the grades 6 through 8 minutes. So right now, we have built into the calendar 9 extra days for Parkview, 10 days for the middle school, or for grades 3, 5, 5.1, which would put us at a place where like, we got only 5 days built in. So if we had to make any changes, you can see that we would just add minutes of instruction to grades 6 through 8 in the calendar. We would have plenty of room. By the way, this year's an anomaly, so I don't know, this is my 9th year being a superintendent. This was the most amount of snow or cold days, school cancellations that we've had. So not counting on having that happen again, but it is what it is. So, so to me, there's plenty of buffer built into the calendar. Right now, I do have highlighted in yellow, moving the middle school start time back to 7:45. And really, that's not driven by the overall need for minutes in the school year. It's driven by the minutes that we want to make sure that we have committed to our literacy time and providing a bigger block of time for literacy. So that's one of the biggest drivers for adding that time back into the calendar. So scrolling up to the top and looking at the variables. So we've got a beginning of the school year in service. We're looking at, we're trying to have a very timely in service for staff. So when we look at, we have a brand new math adoption that we are going to be implementing this summer. So we'll provide some professional development right after school is out. But then we're going to need support and ongoing PD throughout the school year. So we're looking at having it's about once a month, having a day off for professional development. And the days in the fall are on Mondays, considering that we want Friday night events are a big deal in the fall with football. So we try to stay away from those. And we try to bookend things too, so give a family a 3-day weekend is what the objective was. Or you tack it on to what's already a holiday. So the days that are in red, those days are unpaid days. And we end up with having 3 professional development days in order to complete the teacher contract of 192 days in the month of June, right after school is out. So our goal is to start having like a summer institute and looking at all of our initiatives and giving them a boost in PD before they leave for summer. So whatever happens on the June 9th, 10th, and 11th, they have the summer in order to continue to work and reflect and adjust and lesson plan and get ready to implement that in the next fall. So there's 5 days built into that calendar then, and from the staff, with that plus delta information, so what's going well and what are things to work on, we showed them options with early releases on Wednesdays. And when we looked at that, it had a lot of challenges. So then we, trying to be family friendly, are trying to stay away from early releases unless it's like happening literally right before a holiday. So the 20th, that's an early release, that's a tradition that we've had here in the school district. And then the last day of school. Other than that, there are no early releases. So teachers shared that those are challenging for them in order to really get into the motion as far as professional development, and they just start getting work, picking up some momentum, and then it's time to wrap up at the end of the day. The other part is that I'm sure it's not going to be a surprise to you, but there's a shortage of substitute teachers in the state of Wisconsin. There's a major sub shortage in our area. People are going to the place of actually putting up billboards to recruit up in Green Bay. CISA 6 actually, subs do have to get a small amount of training. It's like a day, 1 day in order to be qualified to sub. They have to have a 4-year degree, plus they have to go through the 1-day workshop. So up at CISA 6, they offer the training. And according to Ted Nainski, about 80% of the people that were there were coming from the Green Bay area and Appleton area. And when surveyed, how did you find out about the training? It was the billboards on the side of the road. So we have signs like right on front. There's a sign here that says we're hiring. We have those signs at all 3 sites. We have up on our website, it always shows that we're looking for substitutes. We're always having it's up on WeCan. That's the primary place anybody should go in order to apply for that. So for us, right now, we are providing professional development for staff during the school day because we have so few days built into this year's calendar, and it's not responsive enough. That's not good enough. We do have to do some PD, some collaboration time. So we're having subs cover classes and teachers kind of rotating through. Well, in the meantime, they're prepping for their class. Now we've got a sub in front of the students instead of the teacher. I take the teacher anytime, even though I value subs, absolutely. So this would definitely cut down on the amount of substitute teaching that we need in order to complete the work. It'll save budget-wise. It'll save on the hardship of not being able to find substitutes for us. So as a administrative team, as a teaching group, we're all really excited about this model that we have to share with you. And something else that's important is our support staff. we are providing professional development and training for support staff. And for us, we have some of these opportunities we would use specifically to target PD for our special education paras, our office administrative assistants, and everybody in Skyward. So we're looking forward to the opportunities. We think that a lot of gifts come along with that. And one of the things is that just from our workshop with Ted Knightsky today, it's like, hey, when you implement a change, he talked about the rule of threes. So as you're working on it, you collaborate, and you come back 3 days later, you check in on it. You come back 3 weeks later, then you come back 3 months later. So it's constantly coming back and cycling and getting feedback. So the continuous improvement work we have is always about that plus delta. So what's going well, what do we have to improve, and having time in order to address that. Time above and beyond starting at 4 o'clock in the evening after a day of work. So we think it's a great model. In here we do have highlighted like Parkview parent-teacher conferences, middle school parent-teacher conferences. It does have, it's called a parent engagement event. Not everything we do is parent-teacher conferences anymore. More of it's about come into the building, come meet with us. It's more like a showcase of learning. So do you have any questions at all? I just did a whole bunch of
Well, I think, you've got support from all ends, so.
No, it's the best when everybody works together to
Yeah.
get this set up.
Right.
Yeah, this was not Scott sat in the room with a couple of MEA reps. I have spent time with MEA reps in the past. This was all hands on deck. Everybody was vetting it out, trying to provide feedback on what's the best calendar option for us. We talked about a different date for spring break. Can we move that around? And I think that's probably subject to feedback for 2021. So we did discuss locking in a 2021 calendar sooner than later. If we know that this is our option, this is what we're looking forward to, we think this is going to work for us, just say, okay, this is the rhythm, so we'll just keep going.
Question for you, have you guys linked up with St. John's and the Catholic school as well to take a look at their spring breaks?
I met with St. John's actually, and I talked to them about the calendar, and I shared with them one of the options that we were looking at, and they said, oh, we're not going to do that. So we talked about having early releases on Wednesdays,
Okay.
and that was something that they would
Well,
not go with.
obviously, yeah.
One of the things Kate talked about too is that St.
I'm
John's.
talking just aligning spring
The
break
spring, right,
specifically.
what she spoke about with spring break with St. John's is they always align it, I believe, with Easter, because there's always a big
Right.
lunch sale that comes after, that kind of follows the week.
Right,
After
and-
that.
right, so no matter what, they're gonna go with the rummage sale, that's for them, and for us, I don't know if we're in it to win it with always having spring break as late as that, so Easter falls at a different place in the
Well, it
calendar.
falls
on
at a
an annual
different place
basis.
every year in the calendar, like this
You
year's
know.
like.
So,
And one thing I noticed, there's far less teacher holidays. We usually had one a month, didn't we? Or am I wrong?
no, there's only 2 teacher holidays,
Yeah,
that's
right
it.
now.
Nope, that's all there were.
That's all there was this year. I didn't check this year.
The only reason why I say
Usually
that-
one a month for quite a few years.
The only reason why I think that trying to work with the parochials is sometimes you find kids that are older within the school district, other kids that are in the parochials and stuff like that. And I think that collaborating even a little bit more, I don't know how you go about it.
But we share bus, we provide
Busing is a big
some
thing.
transportation services, so
Sure.
we try to be as aligned as much as possible.
We tried for years. There were some years where it worked out great, and the next
Other
few
years not.
it's different. At least with Easter wasn't a problem.
The key part with Kate was, that, hey, as soon as you can get that calendar, that really helps us out.
Absolutely.
That was the dialogue.
Any other discussion? Joe?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carried 7-0.
This was number one.
Sort of related to that, WIA at the state hockey tournament was on TV over the weekend. They had a fairly long presentation about the problem and shortage of referees. And for some schools, they were saying they've had to cancel events because they couldn't get referees.
just read I just heard someone, it must have been in the news today, someone was reading out loud